What's good?
So we're done with the part one, so we're gonna move on to part two. And yes, I'm using the exact same sweater. Yeah. We're gonna go into my thought process making this album. It doesn't have to be so complicated, but mostly I'm starting with instrumentals, and I do plan to put lyrics on top of it. Start rap. The main purpose for these instrumentals moved into an album was the storytelling, kind of this nightly vibe that gives you the kind of feeling when you're out riding at dark, or you're just up real late and you're just reflecting on something. We've all had that. So I thought it was a great concept to build off of. And there are some up songs, there's some down songs, chill songs, fast songs. And today I'm going to be showing you a few more songs that I made, my favorites, and also the throwaways, which there are a few. There are a few duds, so let's get into it. The first one here is slowly becoming my favorite track off of it. It used to be so simple. It used to be just one synth pad, like one lead synth, and just a few drums. But I went back to it and started putting more things on top of it. It became much more better when I went back and started tweaking stuff and taking things out and adding things in. Just became so much better. The first thing, and pretty much what everything else is built off of, is the synth from Vital, which has a really slow attack and is drenched in reverb, and it almost sounds like a wind, but you could still hear the harmonics. And it's just spread out in the back, filling up that space and giving it that atmosphere. The drums are the second biggest part, where it's mostly built off of the kicks, especially that I roll the kicks sometimes. And I also put a snare. It almost looks like a pyramid as it zigzags up and down. And the type of drums I use were more boom bap, really punchy kicks and snares. It cuts through the really atmospheric, large synths. Finally, as the song progresses, it eventually gets to two lead synths. One that I put the sidekick so that it pulses and moves as the song moves, and one that's straight and constant, and it's pretty high. And under that is a more bassy synth with the same progression. And remember what I said, it would have ended right there. And it's not bad, but it's pretty boring. So I went back and started editing it some more, and I pretty much filled up the track. The first thing I did was put more movement with the synth, so I copied the same progression and put some synth keys. Then I wanted to give it more progression, the song in general. I wanted to progress more. I wanted to get to a certain point. So I added this middle section, took out the really large pad, and then I just left the synth keys, added a piano that played its own melody, and then added another small synth on top of it. It's almost ear candy. And as you can see, they kind of play different things, but it plays off of each other. There are a lot of spaces, a lot of pockets where nothing plays for one thing, but one plays for the other. It gives it a lot more bounce. Finally is the end part, and here is when the song pretty much climaxes, and I really wanted some sort of super fast, really high synth that just slides over and over again. For example, this is what came to mind for me. Think of the synth in Pyramids that that thing. So I added this bell that I slowed down, but then sped up again and stacked them on top of each other. And then I took a little synth accent, placed it on top, and we got our song. This is a lot more simple than the other tracks, I would say. It has like 3-4 main elements.
Water. Your ass will get wet.
It's not a lot, but it really taught me that more isn't always better.
I want to talk to Fortnite, and I want to talk to you guys.
So this piano that I pan to the right is meant to be really dark, but utilizing the minor scale and also putting it into isotope trash. And it also has a sus chord, and that's important as it keeps it eerie. So the second biggest sound in this beat is actually a tuba and not a synth from BBC Symphony. I just drowned it in Valhalla Supermassive. I actually put some fresh air on it too, and also filter out some high end. To give this track more progression, every few bars I put this really drenched in reverb choir synth. To complement it, I put a synth bass that gradually goes up and then down and then up. And finally, and genuinely finally, is the drums. The drums are incredibly frequent and move very often. The kicks are really distorted. The snares, which I use too, are very high to give that contrast. Time for the duds, and there's this one. It kind of looks like a gun, but this one was alright. I mean, I didn't know how else to keep this moving. I mean, it's moving itself, but like, you know, I don't know. It just wasn't going anywhere. Then there's this one. This one, I don't know. You guys can judge it for yourself. It really fell off. And that's the end of the video. Now, I want you guys to expect every week to be a new part like I did here. You know, last week I made the first part, so expect each week to have a new part. And the music will be constant too. I am going to release these and on the same thing, on the same time, and I want to rap on the first beat that was presented in this video. So expect that. And make sure to tune in and subscribe. All right, see ya.